What if there was a way to gauge how well your social connections are going to support you? Maybe you've listened to this podcast many times and you kind of wondered, maybe you think your friendships aren't that bad. Maybe you think that they can do better. Wouldn't it be great if there was a quiz or something to help you find out? Well, there is. And that's why I'm talking to you about it right now. Just go to patternsofpossibility.com and you'll find my quiz to gauge how well your social connections are going to support you. That's in your personal life and professional life. Aren't you at least a little bit curious? Go to patternsofpossibility.com and take your quiz to find out if they're going to be able to support you when you need them the most. Hey, what's going on? My name's Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about people pleasing again and again and again and again and again. People pleasing. Please don't be mad. But people pleasing, I believe, is a form of controlling others. Please, again, don't be mad at me for saying that. I really don't want you to be angry. Are you ready? Let's go. So I want to talk about people pleasing as a form of controlling others because I believe it is. I always talk about this stuff from my own experiences. And I believe that I've been taught, and maybe you have too, have been taught that the way to get to other people, the way to get people to like you is to do things for them and make them feel appreciated because you did something for them. And I look at that and I think about how I've been told about the golden rule. And you may know this too, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So treat other people the way you want to be treated. But, you know, with people pleasing, I have really no sense of what I really wanted and how I really wanted to be treated. Because if I look back at my experiences of people pleasing, doing things for others at the point of exhaustion, giving up the things giving up my time, giving up my energy. And I thought that was what I was supposed to do. I thought that they wanted this, and this is how I can make a genuine connection with them. And it turned out that it wasn't. And I was very angry and upset with them because they didn't treat me the way I treated them. But, you know, there were so many layers to this. There were so many layers because they didn't treat me the way I wanted to be treated because I didn't tell them. We can talk about that piece another time, but I certainly didn't tell them how I wanted to be treated because I really didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know how to receive love and care and connection and be a part of a community because that required vulnerability. I just didn't have it. I wasn't capable of it. So my tool was to use this people pleasing. So I thought about using it to support them so that they would like me. And I think about that as a form of control because if you do something like give your time, your energy, drive people to the airport, cook for them, bring them things, maybe lend money when you really don't want to, you are not treating yourself well. So that's the thing. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Well, you are doing something to yourself that doesn't feel great. Hadn't noticed that in my past. Now I notice it. It doesn't feel great. So the purpose of doing the thing for them isn't out of the kindness of my heart. It wasn't out of the kindness of my heart. It was to get them to behave in a specific manner. That means if I do this for you, I better damn well expect that you will do it for me later. This is what I thought. And I think when people do this people pleasing, they do something along these lines. And perhaps they do not want them to reciprocate in the way that I was expecting, but they do want to control the behavior, the response of the other person, right? If you had always learned that you should think about the other person and how they might feel, it really does harm your ability to connect with them, because you're always thinking about what their move is, trying to calculate what their move is. And maybe it's not so they will drive you to the airport one day or buy you a really nice gift. Maybe the move here to be extra kind and nice to them is that they will always give you a compliment, or they will never say anything bad to you, or they won't frown at you, or they won't give you a reason to think that they don't like you. Just keep giving them stuff. Give. And then you will never have to confront the feelings that they might not like the thing that you gave them. They might not like something about what you do. You'll never have to hear that. That's what I did. I people pleased and pleased and pleased and pleased, hoping that I would never have to hear those things from other people. I was not connected to them because I was in my own space. I was in my own world, thinking and believing that if I keep doing these things, I won't have to hear anything bad. If I keep giving, if I keep sharing, if I keep smiling, I won't have to hear anything that they don't like about me. And I was desperate not to hear those things. I was desperate not to feel that sense of rejection that they may have had. You know? Desperate. Does that sound like anything you've experienced? Desperation. I would stay there. And if they did show any feelings of dislike through all my happiness and goodness and giving, I'd have all the justification to believe that they were a terrible person. Then I could be safe. I would believe that they're a bad person because look at all the good things that I have done for them and look how garbage they're treating me. I laugh at that now because it's just so not what I'm doing today. It's just so disconnecting to believe that they can't show me their real feelings. I was the problem in the sense that I couldn't hear their real feelings. I could not connect with them with people pleasing because connection really requires me to understand how they feel and why they feel it. And if I'm so shrouded in my own fears, anxiety, sadness, frustration that I can't hear them, then we will be disconnected. No matter what I do, unless I get the feelings that I have under control, which, by the way, have nothing to do with the person I'm people pleasing, nothing at all to do with them. It's all my own sense of rejection and sadness and fears that I've been facing my entire life. I just brought all that stuff to the party. Congratulations. You get all that stuff when you hang out with me. No wonder why I couldn't really connect with people. No wonder why people really weren't interested in me. All I wanted to do was show them how afraid I was that they were going to leave me. That's all I did. And sure enough, they left because I wasn't available emotionally. I wasn't available to hear anything that they might have felt. And they would have felt alone in the connection. And of course, I always felt alone in the connection. I was always afraid. So people pleasing, I use that as a tool to control, to manage other people's feelings so that I wouldn't have to acknowledge the truth of how they would feel about something that I've done, especially if it was negative. I only wanted to see the positive things. And you know what's funny about that is even though I may have impacted a person in a positive way, I had a lot of difficulty accepting that as my own. Like I did that. I helped them smile. I made their day. I had a difficulty, even though I really tried to do that in my people pleasing, I had difficulty accepting that I could have brightened somebody's day. Wow. I look back at that person who I was, and I'm just like, wow, you were something else, man. But I am very glad to have had that experience so that I can share it with you. If you are in this mode, if you're in this space in which you are people pleasing, I have some things that I'd recommend for you. because it's not about the people that you're sharing things with. It's about you and your feelings about yourself. It's about you and your feelings about rejection and sadness, anger, all those things that need to be explored before you take them into the relationships and the connections that you have, whether it's in your professional life or whether it's in your personal life. So here's what I recommend that you do. Step 1, focus on how you feel. You have to ask yourself what's causing all of this pain and frustration. It might be something that you have to look back in your history at, maybe the connections that you had with your family, the other relationships that you've had. What's causing this? I highly recommend that you journal. Write it down, do a video vlog or record your voice, and just sit with these feelings, uncover them, speak them, because it's one thing to keep it inside of your head, but it's another thing to get it out of your mouth and into your ears if you're speaking it like I am. It's another thing to get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper so that you can look at it, make it real, examine it, push away the emotions. It's not so close to you if it's on the piece of paper. If it's not so close to you if it is after a period of 2 or 3 weeks, you return to the journal entry and you read that and you remember like, oh, it might be intense when you write it down the first time, but when you go back and you look at it 2 or 3 weeks later, you'll be like, oh, it gives you some clarity, some space. It'll help you going forward in your other connections. Number 2, remember that you cannot control how people feel, and you are not responsible for their feelings. If they are upset, then they are upset. If they're happy, then they're happy. It is not you who is responsible for creating that for them. That piece right there will remind you that you are also responsible for your own feelings. This anxiety, frustration, sadness that you're bringing when you people please is yours. It's up to you to do something with it. 3, release the desire to change that person's feelings and shift your desire towards understanding that person's feelings. So whoever you're people pleasing, stop thinking about how you can change their feelings. Stop thinking about how you can make their day. Stop thinking about how you can cheer them up. Stop thinking about what you can do for them. And instead, try understanding more about how they're feeling about any experience that they're having. Whatever it is that they're doing, just try and understand what it is that they're doing, how they feel about what they're doing. If they're mad, acknowledge their anger. If they're happy, acknowledge that. If they're sad, acknowledge that. Don't try to smooth it over. Don't try to change it. Just understand it. So when you practice this, you will shift your thinking to accept this person just as they are. Your desire to people please will disappear because, well, they'll naturally feel attraction to you. Because when you people please, you want them to be around, right? You're trying to do things to entice them to come towards you. But that doesn't work. Giving your energy in that way doesn't work. What does work is shifting your thinking to accept them as who they are, accept their feelings and understand their feelings. They will naturally be attracted to you because, well, they feel like there's an acceptance there. They feel like you accept them. It'll naturally be attracted to you. So no more people pleasing. Please. Pretty please. I'll be right back with the Reddit friendship advice question. Are you ready for the annual Social Connections Summit? It's happening August 5th and 6th. This year's summit theme is all about building trust and connecting authentically. That's in both your personal and professional life. Experts, coaches, and social wellness practitioners from all over are going to gather to this one spectacular event to help bring the joy of connection, community, and camaraderie to you. If in your personal life you feel unsupported with your current social circles, or if you don't have a group of peers that are close to you in age and share your interests and lifestyles, if you feel shyness or anxiety when meeting new people, this event is for you. It's going to help you improve your personal life. And in your professional life, if you feel more like an outsider than a team member in the workplace, if you feel like you don't have peers at work that know what's important to you, or if you feel like you always have to go along to get along, you need to be at this event. I promise you, you will leave empowered with skills and knowledge to create the social, emotional support that you need in both your personal and professional life. You don't have to just be friendly at work. You can actually be friends. Come find out how. Early bird tickets are on sale now until June 1st. Early bird ticket holders will receive a private, personalized one-to-one coaching session from up to 3 different coaches of their choosing. That's right, early bird ticket holders will receive private, personalized coaching. If you've been afraid to invest in a coach, this is your opportunity to test drive. If you want an experiential learning environment like none other, where you're going to gain insight from world-class professionals, be empowered by personality tests like the Enneagram and DISC assessments, and have an opportunity to network and share your experiences with others who feel exactly as you do, get yourself to the annual Social Connection Summit happening August 5th and 6th. Go to patternsof possibility.com to get your tickets, or check the link in the show notes. I'll see you there. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. Stop people pleasing, lost all friends. I'd always been a people pleaser. I would do whatever it took to make sure that the people around me would see me as dependable in any situation. For the most part, I did exactly that. I was the kind of person you confided in, you asked for money from, you asked for your time, etc. It was quite nice, to be fair. The people around me didn't really, quote, use me, and they would try their best to reciprocate as much as possible. I had more friends than I could count, and so many meaningful friends that I had a hard time sorting out who were my, quote, best friends. I was far from lonely, and I enjoyed it. Sometime during my experience in university, I felt a gradual shift into the real world and all the problems and stressors that came with it. I slowly lost the ability to be what others needed, and I had to face mental health issues that started to creep in. Subconsciously, I made a shift from people pleasing to just trying to scrape by and fend for myself. I was no longer that person who would drive 2 hours to help you with something trivial. No longer the person to mediate your relationship issues. No longer the face at the party you'd see helping when you were too drunk to walk. I became someone who would speak my mind if you continuously slighted me. I became less forgiving. Your feelings didn't matter to me if you showed disregard of my own feelings. I now have 1 to 2 meaningful friends. Even their presence is scarce. I don't really talk to anyone except my girlfriend now, and hanging out with someone from the past is something of a rarity. Texts go unread or without reply. Yes, you could chalk it up to the part where every one of my friends is entering their own careers and school life is no longer holding everyone together. But some of these people were gone even before that. Am I meant to just find a happy medium of people pleasing? Do I just find new friends? I don't really interact with many people anymore besides the few people I work with. I'm stumped. Would appreciate any encouragement or criticism. I know you didn't ask me to answer this question, but you said you would appreciate any encouragement or criticism. And wow, do I have a lot of encouragement for you. Go you, go you. I'm so glad to know that you have decided to change and really focus on your own feelings, because this is what I read in here. You focused on your feelings. You said to people, your feelings don't matter to me if you show disregard of my own feelings. And that's super important when you want to stop people pleasing or when you want to connect with people authentically. The way to connect with them authentically is to address the feelings, talk about the feelings. The connection is always made in how you feel about the event. If you both feel the same way about the event, so like you drove 2 hours and you feel really tired and exhausted, and they can't understand that you feel tired and exhausted, then you're going to have a little difficulty. If they don't care about your feelings in the first place, you're going to have some difficulty because you always have to put them aside. And that's what we do when we people please. We're always putting our feelings aside. We're always going the extra mile. We're always believing that this is what we need to do in order to keep our friendships together. This is friendship. Do unto others as we want them to do unto you. Do unto us, right? So kudos to you for tuning into your own intuition. That's what I call your intuition, your feelings about the experience that you're having. And the way we connect with people is when we tune into those feelings, we recognize them, we give them an opportunity, we share our feelings. We give people around us an opportunity to know how we feel. And if they can understand how we feel, they can empathize with us, then we connect. If they can't empathize with us, then we feel even more disregarded. We were like, anger, frustration. I told you how I felt and you ignored it, especially after all the other things that I did. And that sounds like what it may have happened here. I don't know what the catalyst was, but you have decided that you would focus on your own feelings first. And the way we make friends as a social connections coach, this has been my experience too, is the way we make friends and we connect with people is by honoring ourselves first. And so when you started to do that, you saw people move away. And there's only a few people that can really deeply, truly understand us. So to answer your question, how you make friends, you just find new friends. Yes, you go find new friends. You be honest and upfront all the time, and do your best not to people please. Do your best not to do things that you think that they want you to do. Actually listen to them when they talk about things that they actually want to happen. And if you want to offer your services, sure, go ahead. But you do that with understanding that you're doing it because you find joy in doing it, not because you want something in return, not because you expect them to treat you a certain way later on. You can express that. You can express, tit for tat. Hey, put it out in the front. I think it's, if you're going to do that, don't keep score and tally by yourself. Like, let them know, because again, that's expressing your feelings up front. That's expressing it up front, right? No hiding stuff. So I think when people please, they do all the things and they hide something about how they feel about what they do, right? So, of course, I want to give you something actionable. So this is what I recommend that you do. You think about the things that you like to do, your experiences that you would like to have, the actions and behaviors that you would like to see from friends, and you go to those places in which people are doing those things, right? It's important for you to know how you want people to behave and be in spaces with people who are behaving that way. Otherwise, you're going to do what I did. You're going to go to the bar. People are all going to know you. They're going to hang out with you only in the bar. They're going to talk about stupid bar things, barfly things, and you're going to feel disconnected and lonely because you're in a place in which you have no idea what you really want. So go to places where you got to figure out what it is that you want first. You figure out what it is that you want, and you go to those places with people who are doing those things, and then you talk to them. You have conversation. And this is what I teach in my 3-step coaching program. Figure out these actions and behaviors that you want. There's specific actions and behaviors. It's just not enough to say, I want somebody to chill with. I want somebody to hang out with. It's just not enough. You got to get more specific. And then after you get those ideas about what it is that you want, the specific actions and behaviors, you look around and you go to places where people are doing the things that you want. And then while you're at those places, you talk to them. You have meaningful conversation about what you like. Be open, be honest. Do not people please. Do not offer to do things for them. No. That slips you back into this behavior, and it sets the stage for how your relationship is going to be going forward. Move away from people pleasing. Just talk to them. Just get to know them. Validate their feelings and share some things about you. And that's how you make for more connections. But you are not going to find the deepest connections. Not many people can know you. Not too many people get to know the depths of who you are. We're just not built for that. We don't have enough time. But there'll be lots of people you can do activities with. So I'd also like you to consider that. You may have a couple of meaningful friends, and that's great. Maybe you want some deeper friends. You may be able to find them out there. But I strongly encourage you to regard those meaningful friendships with real care, because those are the ones that are going to know you deeply. It's not really that great to have like 500 friends, right? They don't really get to know you. They don't really know your struggles. They don't know what's going on deep inside your mind and your heart. And you want people like that in your life. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.